Hello and welcome to Thrive in 5. The other day I was speaking with a client of mine who struggles with depression, and he asked me a question. How can I like myself, much less love myself, when I've made so many mistakes? I have so many serious flaws. And the question resonated with me. I think we all grapple with this to some degree. And I think we can begin to understand an answer by looking at the upcoming day of Tisha B'Av. Of course, we know that Tisha B'Av is the day when both temples were destroyed in Jerusalem, but the original Tisha B'Av actually took place over 3,000 years ago, when the Jewish people refused to go up and enter the land of Israel. And on that day they cried to God and said they're all going to die in the wilderness. And God responds and says, in essence, on this day you cried for no reason. In the future I'm going to give you a reason to cry. And indeed we know that the Jewish people have suffered a number of major tragedies throughout their history on Tisha B'Av. Why weren't the Jewish people willing to go up into the land of Israel? Didn't they see all the miracles that God had done for them? And what was the response from God? It sounds more like the response of a frustrated parent than the infinite, benevolent, almighty creator of the universe. We need to understand the backstory. What was really bothering the Jews? You see, it wasn't that they didn't believe God could bring them in. They saw the miracles. It's that they didn't believe he wanted to. In fact, they thought he hated them because they had worshipped idols when they lived in Egypt. And they thought that he had brought them out of Egypt to kill them, which is what they say literally openly in the Parshas Deuteronomy. And now we can begin to understand God's response. You see, what he was saying to them in essence is, you're my people, I love you. Yes, you made mistakes, but I know that's not who you really are in essence. All I wanted to do was bring you into the promised land. You had nothing to cry about, but you couldn't trust my love. It would be great if I could just tell you this and you would believe it, but it's not going to work. You're going to have to see it for yourself. Since you couldn't trust me, you couldn't trust my love, I'm going to have to leave you to your own devices. And that's going to take you to some pretty dark places. But even in those dark places, if you look, you'll see my loving, benevolent hand guiding you towards your destiny. You'll see me longing for your return. And then, and only then, will you understand. The greatest sin of all is the failure to see the good that resides within creation, because that's why we were put here, to find that good and to bring it out. And the place where that seeing begins is within ourselves, because we have within ourselves a precious, infinite source of goodness. Our soul, a tiny spark of God, a source of unbelievable wisdom and insight and creativity and love and goodness. And it's indestructible no matter what we do, no matter where we go, no matter how much we fail to listen to it and even bury it. It's always there. Yes, we make mistakes. We make plenty of mistakes, but we're trying the best we can with what we know. Yes, we can stray very far from the path sometimes, but we need to understand that the very first step off that path is when we fail to see the good within ourselves, no matter what we have done. Because the failure to see that is going to lead to the failure to see the good in others, and ultimately the failure to see the good in creation itself. Which is why the rabbis tell us that sinat chinam, baseless hatred, and lashon hara, slander, was the cause of the destruction of both temples, because at the core of both of these sins is a failure to see the good. Of course, we're not here just to see the good. We're here to be good. We're here to be meaningful. That's an indispensable part of our existence. But how are we ever going to be good if we don't see what we have inside of ourselves? If I have $1 million in my bank account and I fail to utilize it for good, then that's a tremendous waste. It's a tragedy. But it doesn't change the fact that there's still $1 million in my bank account. And if I don't see the value of that $1 million, then how can I ever hope to use it for good? We are all here to see the very essential good that lies within creation. And yes, we all make mistakes. We all blow it from time to time. But we can't let that distract us. Because if we do fail to see that good, we are literally pulling the rug out from underneath our own feet. And I can think of no bigger mistake, no greater sin than that. I wish you a meaningful and easy fast, and I hope to see you again soon for another Thrive in 5.